so interesting for me, so that I can just prolong my stay in Russia for the next 2 years minimum. So what I will talk about today, as I said, we'll introduce a little bit about Henkel in Russia, and then we will go to the winning culture within Henkel, because this is what attracts people. It is not a big organization, it is not a rich organization. What is attracting for young people as you are, that you have the right culture in the company, the right atmosphere and the right mindset, where you are happy to be in with and where you know I can develop my career. And therefore I would like to focus stronger in this presentation here, not on financials and not only on marketing, but also what is in for you. What could you expect if after this presentation you are highly interested in Henkel and you are interested to apply for a job in finance or in marketing or whatever, to come here to our company? What is it? Is it only a big organization? Is it a global organization? Or is it an organization with a special spirit and with a special culture which is in this company? Who knows Henkel before I will start? Who heard about Henkel beforehand? Some shy signs? Who knows products from Henkel?
Everyone knows. I think everyone knows.
Everyone knows? Yeah, so some females for sure. Huh? Which products do you know from Henkel?
Brill.
Brill. Oh.
And Fahr.
Und Fahr, yeah. Good, yeah. Some else? Huh? Persil? Kraft?
Yeah, Fahr.
Okay, good. I'm happy with this result. It's quite positive. So, we'll show you what is Henkel worldwide. Actually, Henkel is a quite old company, 134 years old. Our headquarters, as I said, we are a German company, and our headquarters is located in nice Düsseldorf. I can say nice Düsseldorf because I'm originally coming from Düsseldorf, and that is very specific. Henkel indeed is on the stock exchange listed in the German DAX, but indeed the voting rights are still with the family Henkel. So basically, Henkel is a family-owned company, and you see here this still quite young lady, 40 years old. She just took over last year the chair. She's the chairwoman of the supervisory board, so that means she is heading the Henkel family, and she is heading with this also the Henkel company. We have roughly 14 billion euro turnover in 2009. Roughly 50,000 employees, and actually, yes, we are a global company, but indeed with some very specific focus in our area. 125 countries, but 80% of our business is done in Europe, is done in North America, and is done in China. We are not so strongly involved in South America, and we are not so strongly involved in Africa. So, yes, a selective, strong global company. So what you mentioned already, some products here. Indeed, we are talking about 3 legs, 3 divisions in our company. That is first of all, and this is the core, we started with this is the detergent business, roughly 30%. This is the cosmetics business, stuff was mentioned here, with 20%, 22%. Of sales shares, and I guess it is a surprise for you. Indeed, we are not mainly a detergent company, we are not mainly a cosmetic company, we are mainly, when we are talking about turnover, an adhesive company. Did you know this? Do you know a very well-known Russian adhesive? Think about a moment this. Do you know this? Most probably not. Most of the people do not know, but indeed Henkel, strong moment here in Russia, is a strong producer and actually the #1 worldwide in producing adhesives. Not only for the end consumer, the main business is doing this for industry, so B2B business. This is a quite recent development, therefore not well known, because 2 years ago we acquired roughly 2 billion euro additional sales, and we have taken over the #2 worldwide national starch, which was adding to our existing business, already #1, even a further strong shares. So this is the reason that roughly 50% of our turnover is indeed adhesives. Yeah, crisis well known worldwide, and this is also clearly reflected in our organic sales growth worldwide. You can see here our development of the last 5 years. So we were used in the last year to have a good growth. World market was at that time expected to grow between 2 and 3%. So we clearly outperformed the market, had a growth of 5-6%. But as of quarter 2008, and therefore the whole year was spoiled, also the crisis clearly hit Henkel, and we came down to 3%. And actually in 2009, we suffered from a clear downside of minus 3.5%. Actually, this 3.5% was still a good number because there were a lot of industries and a lot of competitors which were suffering from 6, 7, 8 or even more minus in their organic growth. Yeah, if you fall, you can also raise strongly. So this year indeed is wonderful for Henkel. We had the best quarterly development in the first 3 quarters of 2009. And in total, we are growing by 7.3%, so even better than before the crisis. And the good news is that all our divisions, that means the detergent, the cosmetics, and the adhesive business, is involved in this growth. And as the world market is expected in this year to grow roughly between 2% for the industry, for the consumer goods, and 3% for the industry products, again, this is clearly outperforming the market, and that means Henkel is gaining clearly market share during the crisis and also after the crisis. And when this is happening, there is a clear feedback, not from the employees and not from market shares, but from the stock exchange. This is development here of the Henkel shares. As I said, we are enlisted in the German DAX, and guess who it is here? That is a nice American-based competitor, and the developments of their shares. And clearly here, the signs are clearly also recognized by the financial analysis. The Henkel shares indeed are not now by 40 euro per share, but today even by 46. So a strong growth in the capitalization of the Henkel company. The development of the share prices for sure is always important, not only for the analysis, also for the employees, because they are partly paid in shares. But it's not the only benchmark what we are talking about when we are talking about development and responsibility for the outer world in Henkel. Henkel also strongly is focusing not only on financial results, but is also clearly strongly committed and focusing on sustainability. This is a nice buzzword which you can read now, but actually that is in our DNA for many, many years, at least since I'm in Henkel, this social responsibility, and that means to take care for your environment, to take care for the employees, for the safety and for the health of the employees. This is not new. What is new, that you can now be ranked and that you can even be listed in some indices and ratings worldwide. And you can see here that Henkel has here indeed a nice list of ranking in this sustainability indices. And when you are looking why Henkel is focusing on this, I might draw you the attention on this here. This is our main focal point where Henkel is going to improve year by year. These are our sustainability KPIs. We want clearly to reduce our consumption in energy. We want clearly to reduce our waste, the consumption of water, and also that is related to our employees, to reduce strongly the occupational accidents. And this is not only one target which is set, there's a moving target, there's clear commitment to go further year by year, and actually we are on a quite good way in this, and for sure are a leading company when it is about sustainability. So, this is the short overview about Henkel worldwide. Some questions so far? Yeah?
Telling about your career, you said that you have worked in Austria and Europe, and now you are working in Russia. Can you tell us about differences? I mean, a difference in consumers, maybe business culture, difference between Europe and Russia?
Yeah. Yes, I can. I would propose that you raise this question maybe once again in half an hour, because then you will see what is our development in the market, and maybe that is better fitting to this. Yeah. But for sure, indeed, the changes and the difference in the environments are huge. To give you a short impression, when I was in sales in Germany, sales is key account management in Germany. It's the same in Austria. So you have 2-3 clients who are covering 80% of your turnover. In Russia, this is totally different. In Russia, yes, you have also huge clients here. Auchan is well known here, X5 Group is well known here, Magnet is well known here, and they are growing strong. You will see that. What is different, in parallel, you have huge traditional trade. And they are also very, very important, and they are not dying. They are on a very, very stable level. And that means for you as a manager, you have to deal in all areas in parallel. You have to be excellent in modern sales tool, and on the other hand, you have to be excellent in coverage building. And it's a totally different story when you are talking to one client, like Auchan, then you cover 10% of your turnover, or if you have to go shop by shop by shop by shop in Siberia or Far East, and to have here the correct routing, to have the correct prioritizing of your assortment, because this has to be done by people. And that means it is not only a specialist, you have to be also an excellent people manager. And this is one of the biggest differences that is not only related to Russia, but it is strongly deployed in Russia. But actually, when I started in Czech Republic in 1999, we had a quite similar situation. So they were growing key accounts, but 20% turnover share, 80% was just really retail and coverage and people management. And this was strongly then developing. When I left in 2005, 80% was key account, and only a small part was distribution and retailer. That means you are forced to have year by year restructuring and change management. And this is a huge difference to the so-called mature market, where you have a very stable situation in trade. Yeah, as one of the examples. Yeah. Get also a question.
What market share has Henkel in Russian market?
A big one.
Maybe percentage.
Actually, I'm not allowed to talk about market shares. But if you promise that you will not go out of this room, I will tell you.
Okay, I'm not from Procter & Gamble.
No, I can tell you we are clear. We are clear number one in adhesives. So we have roughly 36 to 40% market share. So, yeah, I will not say dominant, but a very important number one, undisputable leader. We are number one, number two, depends which period you are looking about. Currently, we are number one in cosmetics. There we are neck to a nice French company. And we are number two in detergents with roughly, in cosmetics we are roughly with 17% market share. In cosmetics, that is a very heterogeneous market, so you can have with 15, 16, 70% you are already market leader. And in detergent, that is close to be a more duopolistic market, two strong competitors, Henkel and a nice American company, and there we are number two with 28% market share. But don't tell.
What was your job position when you came to Henkel first time?
I was a naive ex-student. So I started my career in Henkel, and I had the classical start there. I was marketing assistant for 2 years or so. Then I grew up being a junior brand manager. Then I went to sales, and then I was working as a brand manager, and afterwards as a group brand manager. And then I moved to a sales coordinator for the European detergent business.
You have worked in different countries here, and can you say a few words about your family?
Yeah, I can. So I have 3 girls, my wife, my daughter, and my dog. And they suffer a little bit, because yes, I asked whether we should go to another country and what to do. They follow, and for my wife it is not easy, because she has always to adapt and to find new friends. And for my daughter is a big gift because she is now 10 years old and she is quite fluent in Russian language and also in English. So for her, this is a huge opportunity for her whole life. And my dog, she don't like to go into a plane. And therefore, this is also spoiling at least her mental health. And for me, it's wonderful.
And have you got free time for go to the cinema, for the theater, or you always?
That is indeed a good question, but an easy question. Unfortunately, and I guess a lot of you are from Moscow, they know Moscow is eating your time. And this is indeed valid also for me. So indeed, my private life is quite limited. And private life means it starts on Saturday during lunchtime, because until lunchtime I have to sleep. And it is on Sunday. And that's it. So I never had been in this 5 years in Moscow in a cinema. And only for business reasons I was in a theater. So indeed, this is somehow one of the biggest challenges for expats here in Moscow, which is not related to Russia, but to Moscow, because this is so time consuming. When I had my first, I was living in the south of Moscow. I started with 1.5 hour drive to the office, and after 3 years was 2.5 hours drive. So I had to decide to leave the house and to move to Moscow. This is quite challenging. The rest is okay, I would say. This is a big metropole, and I enjoy this, and I enjoy the atmosphere here. But when you are talking about, and I was a good proof today because I was 15 minutes late. So this is indeed the biggest challenge, not only for me but for all other expatriates as far as I know, and also for the family. Bring a kid to the school for 1 hour, that is not indeed so convenient, and that is not that we are not used. In Prague, you will be in 10 minutes there.
Okay.
Well, just one more question to you personally. Why did you find yourself in Russia finally? Just because you consider Russia as a dynamic structure, a developing country, or some other personal reasons?
50% of career is coincidence. Yeah? And to tell you the truth, I was more selected than I was asking to come to Russia. I was selected because indeed I did a huge turnaround in Czech Republic. When I came to Czech Republic, Henkel had a market share of 18% and no profit. And when I left in 2005, Henkel was an undisputable market leader in detergent and cosmetics. And we are one of the highest margin countries now worldwide. So therefore, some people in Düsseldorf thought maybe it's not so bad to bring this guy to Moscow. And actually then I was asked on Monday, on 2nd of July, I remember, and I said yes, I will go to Russia after 2 days. So
the sales were rather low, and they sent you just to improve the situation.
Yeah, we had some challenges in Russia indeed 5 years ago. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and for sure, Russia, if you like to go abroad, for sure Russia is one of the first choices. It is quite clear. This is quite clear. This is one of the biggest countries in the world. This is well known. I'm talking about economy, not size. And for Henkel, as we do not have such a huge business in Brazil, almost nothing, and as we have only a limited business in China, and also a limited business in India, Russia for us is the strongest growth zone worldwide, and also one of the biggest investment zones worldwide. And to be there as a general manager is a paradise, for sure.
Sorry. During your working career, Henkel was, as I understand, the first company and the last company, yeah? Or
it was the first company, and it will be the last one. Yes. I was working when I was a student. I was employed for 3 years. For 3 years, yeah, during my studies with IBM. So it was also a nice experience. But finally, I wanted to go to an FMCG company. So it was not 100% the first, but for 100% employment, it was the first one. Yes.
Why you choose Henkel?
It's a good question. I can tell you the truth, if you do tell it. It was simply money. It was simply money because at that time, when I was at the end of my studies, and the whole studies was very clear because I'm coming from a family where my grandfather and grandmother and their grandfather and were retailers. Yeah, and it was quite clear for me I will be a manager in retail. I wanted to go to Metro Group, yeah, because it was close. I was studying in Cologne, and there is a famous department store, Kaufhof, very well known in Germany, and it was quite clear that I will go there. And I had good contacts, and I had also opportunities, but the salary was so lousy that I redirected, yeah, which is certainly totally wrong now, yeah, that you are thinking about, is it 1,000 German marks at that time, more or less, because that is not too precise for your career. But as I said, I tell you the truth, it was simply money. But fortunately, the alternative Henkel was not so bad at the end of the day. Yeah?
If we talk about the market, what do you think? What's more important?
Once again, please.
What's more important in FMCG market?
In which market? In which? FMCG, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Commercial and board or POC market?
I didn't understand it. Sorry for that. Can you speak up a little bit? I try my best.
What do you think more important? Commercial and boards and such advertising or POC market?
POC, what is this?
Point of sale.
Point of sales. And the question is what?
More important.
More important.
Advertising or point of sale? Is this the question?
Yes.
Yeah? No, actually, I would not say you can choose. You have to deliver both, and actually it varies from time to time. For instance, when you asked me this question 2 years ago, I would say for sure it is advertising, especially in Russia. We will come to that maybe later on. Yeah? But in the crisis, clearly you strongly refocus all your not all your efforts, a lot of your efforts, and you're focused strongly on point of sales. Yeah? So we did a huge shift in money, in allocation, in manpower, shifting from traditional advertising, which is important, but sometimes you have to do a choice, and strongly they're relocating on point of sales. Yeah? And I'm pretty sure when we are going out of the crisis, and now we are going out of the crisis, we will again reshift and have a different balance now in 2011, 2012, again going stronger now for advertising. Yeah? But always for FMCG, especially in Russia, it is this and that, not this or that.
And have you ever think about your own business?
No.
No?
No, no. Actually, also a good reason, because I was asked by a very good friend of mine. I was 5 years with Henkel, and he had a brilliant business idea. But at that time, I was well established already in Henkel, and I saw some career opportunities, and they were attractive for me to be in this business. And actually, there are different types of managers and different types of people. And I'm a very typical manager working for big companies. I had a lot of good friends. They were very happy to work for medium-sized enterprises. Yeah? Very specialized in this. There are totally different challenges, yeah, and expectations. Yeah? And this friend who asked me to be entrepreneur, I said after thinking about it, no, I will not do that. Unfortunately, he totally failed and lost all his money. Yeah? So this was fortunate for me not to go for this. Yeah? But actually, as a type, I'm more really related to big international companies.
And what about government relations in Russia? How government influence on your business, and is it so easy to start or make your business in Russia?
No, it's not easy. That is not a surprise. That is quite clear. But it is getting better, and actually the reputation of Henkel is, yeah, very good, I would say. Maybe even excellent in comparison to others. So indeed, you will see that we have 6 plants here in Russia, and in these locations, for sure, you have to have an excellent relation to government, to the administration, and this is a clear duty then of the local plant manager or the local general director to have close relation to the administration, and therefore we also are focusing always that the local management is really local. Yeah, so we had sometimes when we had a plant manager, she was an expatriate, and this is not really working. Yeah? In this case, we have to have for sure local know-how, understanding, and good relations to the local authorities. And fortunately, yes, this is delivered by us, and we take a lot of care about this.
How you enter to the Russian market? You acquire some plants, or you from?
Yeah, this is a strategy of Henkel in all CE countries. Actually, we never had a green side start. We always had the clear strategy, and that is linked to the political risks in countries always. The idea always was to jump into these countries, Czech Republic or Slovakia or Yugoslavia and also Russia, to go in, to have a joint venture with a strong local partner, with strong local brands, and then to add the know-how, and also to add then international brands which are then produced in these facilities. And later on, and that is also the rule, Henkel was then 100% owner of this former joint venture. And that happened here in Russia indeed 5 times. And indeed, as of 2008, all our former Henkel PMOS, Henkel ERA legal entities were then wholly owned by Henkel. And that was the strategy which we deployed in all CEE countries. So we have 16 countries where we have plants, and in all 16 countries we have this pattern, which is a little bit different to our competitors. But as we are a big company but not the biggest, it's just a question of financial funds. And this was for us the most feasible and pragmatic way to enter.
What about CIS market? I mean, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Belarus. How you produce your production?
Actually,
or you maybe deliver your production by distributors.
When I'm talking about Russia, I'm talking about Russia plus Belarus, and also we call it internally CSC. That means Caucasus area, Asia, Caucasus, Asia, and that means Kazakhstan mainly, and all the other Stan countries. They are steered, and they are also sourced by Russian plants and steered by Russian management. So that is a quite typical pattern, and we are also deploying this. We are not steering Ukraine. Ukraine is a big country within CEE, and they have their own management. They are delivered by Russian plants mainly, but they have their own legal entity and their own management.
So you have distributors to deliver to Central Asia, for example, your production?
There are several distributors. We have their own legal entity with the management, but we do not have plants. They are sourced by Russia. Okay? Good. So, I will show you briefly, once again, if I'm able to start it, a video. No, I'm not able to start it.
Henkel, a global team winning together. 3 business sectors, 5 continents. Henkel is a global supplier of brands and technologies serving customers and consumers the world over. And we can look back on more than 133 years of brand success. Thanks to the outstanding commitment of our global team, we put in another strong performance in 2009, despite the prevailing economic difficulties. We are dedicated to sustainability and corporate social responsibility. We have structured the challenges of sustainable development within 5 focal areas. All new products from the House of Henkel are required to make a contribution to sustainability in at least one of these. Our laundry and home care products bring cleanliness and hygiene into every home, led by the example of Pansy, the first self-acting detergent in the world, and part of our portfolio since 1907. Our innovations combine performance with environmental compatibility. Today, laundry and home care products from Henkel are available in some 100 countries, which means that every day, millions of people launder, wash, and clean with brand name products from Henkel. Henkel is an innovation leader in cosmetics. Whether for colorants, hair care, or styling, we are committed to quality without compromise. With our hair, body, skin, and oral care brands, we are able to meet the highest consumer demands with respect to performance and tolerance. In the case of cosmetics too, the beauty is that people can really trust in Henkel's quality brands. Henkel holds the #1 spot as a supplier of innovative adhesive technologies, both for industrial applications and for craftsmen and consumers. People encounter our products on a daily basis, often invisible, always indispensable. In, for example, automobiles, trains, cell phones, refrigerators, packaging, and diapers. Successful craftsmen and do-it-yourselfers throughout the world rely on our brands. Both at home and at work, Henkel can help everyone master all sorts of challenges. Through Henkel's Smile, we take on social responsibilities well beyond our business operations. For over 10 years, we have supported our people's volunteering activities around the world, such as here in Guatemala. We send emergency aid to crisis zones, and we engage in furthering the common good. We assume responsibility wherever Henkel operates.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so that's the framework for us here in Russia, and now I would like to jump in and you will see some answers to the questions which were already raised. This is actually not the picture I would like to show. That is once again referring to the question which were entered. Actually this year we had a very famous year in our short history because we were celebrating 20 years Henkel in Russia. Actually in August 1990 we started the first joint venture in Saratov. It was at that time not in Russia but in the Soviet Union. And actually most probably you will not remember these times. Most probably not. Maybe. Then you have a very, very good memory because very small kids, they cannot remember what they delivered in the first 2, 3, 4 years. But actually one day, for instance, to give you an idea about how brave or naive the management at that time was, one day before we signed this contract here in Saratov, Soviet Union troops conquered Azerbaijan. And there were a strong fight in Baku. And one day later, Henkel came to Saratov and let's sign the contract. So now in the retro perspective, say, okay, nice move in, but at that time, for sure, it was not so easy to have also commitment from the family to move in this unknown Soviet Union, in this unknown future at that time for Russia. So a quite brave step, but fortunately a very, very good one, because after 20 years, indeed, Henkel Russia is a very sound organization. A very sound organization. We roughly have 3,100 employees in our 6 plants and in our Moscow head office. And if I count also our dedicated sales reps, which are working exclusively for Henkel in whole Russia, but are not on our payroll, but on the payroll of the distributors, you can add 1,000 people more. That means more than 4,000 people are working and earning their money with and for Henkel. So we have here indeed 6 plants, and you can see they are all located in the European part of Russia. We started indeed here in Saratov. This is now a combined adhesive and detergent plant. Then we moved to Tosno. That was Henkel era at that time. Again, a joint venture. And indeed, the last joint venture we opened then in the year 2000, actually 10 years ago, when we had a joint venture, an acquisition, better saying in this case, of Henkel Pemos, and this is located in Kern. And in addition to this detergent and consumer adhesive-oriented development in these plants, we have now 3 nice plants who are producing Henkel Bautechnik products. Do you know the brand Cheresit? Huh? Most probably you will know when you are buying or erecting your first own house, because there is a strong need materials for construction areas. So, and indeed, this is also a quite healthy business here in Russia. You can see here our cake of turnover, and if you remember well, 20 minutes ago I was showing you that adhesives had a 50% share in Henkel worldwide. This is not the case here in Russia. Henkel Russia is strongly consumer goods driven. So 80% of our sales are consumer goods, and only roughly 20% are derived from Bautechnik, and roughly 20% are derived from Bautechnik and also industrial production. So Russia is indeed a growing market, but strongly growing with consumer goods. This is our portfolio. So you mentioned already here famous brand from Henkel, but indeed it is not only international. We have, as we had a joint venture and we started this joint venture, we still have a lot of nice, in the meantime, modernized Russian brands. So Pemolux, very shy here on this, very shy, but this is one of our stars in our assortment, very old and very basic, but the clear dominant market leader here in Russia, and we are selling millions of these cans, not per year, but per month. Cosmetic is a little bit different. The behavior, the understanding and the needs, consumer needs worldwide are by far more harmonized versus detergent, and therefore in cosmetics we do not have Russian assortment. There we had indeed 100% international brands. And this is not a specific for Russia, this is valid in almost all countries, that the assortment in cosmetics is by far more harmonized and by far more international. And you might have seen that we do not have a cosmetic plant here in Russia, exactly for this reason, because you can produce big volumes in one big plant with big 2 plants, and then you can ship. Yeah? This is the reason that the production side set up is different in adhesive and detergent versus the cosmetic business. Yeah, and adhesive technology is also quite international, but indeed we have also a strong national brand. Moment, I guess, well known, I must not explain you that this is a giant in our portfolio. Our understanding how we are steering our portfolio is valid for all our divisions. Yeah? And there are indeed, what I said, we are going for strong international brands, and that means to concentrate. We had a lot of other small brands, but we skipped them from the assortment to be concentrated. This is quite important, really, to harvest economies of scale. Second is, and that is a clear belief, but not only a belief, it is also a commitment. This famous quality from Henkel is indeed a huge topic in day-to-day work. But it's easy said in an advertising, quality from Henkel, but you have to prove this every day, and not only for a test production, which you will then give in a laboratory, but really on day-to-day business. And I was talking about Pemolux, for instance. If you're producing 2 million, 3 million cans per month, you have to ensure that in the first can is the same quality as in the 2 million or 3 million can which are produced at the end of the month. This is easy said, but it has to work. We strongly, this is not a surprise, we strongly believe in innovation. This belongs to our quality approach. Innovation in this case is measured. It's measured here in Henkel that we are going for an innovation rate of 40% plus. That means 40% of our products, of our articles should be introduced in the last 3 years. So it is a quite tough ratio. In Russia today, still easily to be achieved because the market still is not mature, so we can launch every year new products. In opposite to that, what is launched in Germany, where the market is quite mature, and to bring their new innovation is for sure not as easy as in Russia. I'm not saying that it is easy. For us, and this leads once again to this production setup, it was extremely important that we have a high share of production plants and production here in Russia. We started in 1990, and we have seen this was a joint venture, and 10 years later even roughly 50% of the turnover was not produced in Russia. And this gives you a huge pressure in cost, because you have to clearly pay higher production costs, but also a lot of logistic costs. So it is very, very important to have a high share of Russian production here in Russia, in this big country. And in addition to that, you have also to ensure that you are not producing only in Russia a high share, but that also the invoices for all your raw materials which are incoming, that they are ruble-based or not US dollar-based and not euro-based. Henkel, clearly, and this is a difference to that what competitors are doing, we are serving all price segments. And that is valid not only in detergent, where you have a wide variety of price segments, but that is also valid for the cosmetics, where we have value for money brands, but also premium brands. And that is also valid, for instance, in adhesives, where we have Moment as a premium brand, but we have also a value for money brand in adhesive, which is called Econ. So this is also quite important for us, and this for sure was an advantage during the crisis, that when premium was not so strongly demanded, we could instantly shift, and we did this for sure, to value for money or for lower price. Yeah, and it was asked here in the beginning, what is your choice, advertising or point of sales activities? For sure, in Russia it is important to be advertised on TV. This is quite important, and this is not new, and that will not change. And this is derived from this picture here, which gives you the impression how important indeed TV advertising is, especially in our industry. You can see here on the top the average consumption of TV in comparison to some other countries, for instance to Poland, to Czech Republic where I was beforehand, or also to Austria. And you can see here this is one of the highest ratio you will see most probably in the world. So the Russian like to see, or to be at least, to have pushed the button on the TV device. 3.7 hours is the average consumption per day in an average Russian household. And if this is the truth, for sure, you can see a lot of advertising, and this is indeed the truth, and therefore Henkel strongly is committed to advertising. And indeed, when you are asking about differences between Western Europe, mature countries, developing countries, on Russia, this list of the biggest advertisers in TV you never will find in one of the other European countries. In the other European countries you will find auto producers, car producers, you will find insurances, you will find banks, but you will not find Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, Lever, Henkel, Reckitt Benckiser in the top 10. Never ever. Now this is a huge difference, and for us this makes fun because there is a lot of competition, but it's for sure also a quite expensive adventure when you are going here, when you want to market and sell cosmetics or detergent. This is the battlefield. Yeah? And therefore you have to commit for this, and therefore indeed we spend unbelievable big money in Russia for TV. But actually 30 years experience in different markets, Russia is the market where you can instantly measure the quality of advertising. You can instantly measure and see whether you have elastic advertising or not. When you go on air, you should see sales will grow within 4 or 6 weeks. If you will not see, you can forget about the advertising campaign. Then for sure you did a mistake. You will not have this effect in all other countries I have been. Never ever. So it's expensive, but it works. And therefore you have to go. So, question to this? No? Employer. Let's come to the more interesting points. Huh? Yeah, as I said, this is the clear focus point of my presentation today. I would like to give you some insight, some ideas what does it mean to work for Henkel. So, therefore, we come to our framework. What is our understanding as manager, as employees working for Henkel? And this starts always with your vision and with your values. And this is our new vision. What is our understanding? And we want to be very clear in our understanding. And this is that we are a global leader in brands and technologies. That's nice said, huh? Can you understand what does it mean? A global leader in brands and technologies. Is it a non-brainer? Or is there really some meaning behind this? And if yes, what could it be?
To be the best in the world, maybe.
To use technology, innovations.
Yeah, innovation.
But what about brands? I didn't know about brands.
Huh?
No, global leader in brands. What's that mean? About
Personal. Moment. We want to be
moment, for example.
But what about Persil?
It's a brand. But we have also industry that are technologies. No? But I like your understanding, because a lot of people instantly say we want to be a world market leader, which is not the idea of this here. That is really more the idea to be the best in class in procedures and in products. And that is more a question of mindset and culture and not of numbers. And this is the difference. So this is here indeed the explanation of that, what we understand, the global leader in brands and technology. We strive to be the best in whatever we do. And this is, as I said, more a question of winning spirit, winning attitude and mindset. Global leader means related to the fields where we are in and what we are doing. So this is the understanding of winning culture at Henkel. And we translated this now, and now I come to this case study very briefly here. We translated it several times when we are talking to our salespeople. You can see here some of our salespeople which we had in a conference this year in Morocco. So that is not an orange revolution, that are simply our sales representatives. And you can see there's a clear commitment, what we want to deliver. We wanted, and we still want to be the fastest and the dominant challenger. And dominant challenger means in spirit, it means in an attitude when we are working in the market. So again, it's a question of mindset in all areas. And let's have a look what is the outcome of this commitment, of this vision. And if we're talking about outcome, it is important to know what is our strategy and what are our strategic priorities. And we had set here three, and we were discussing already about this. That means we are strongly upgrading our supply chain. There we want to be close to the market and state of the art. And as I said already, in detergent, not 70% is produced in Russia. Now we even, in detergent, we produce even 95%, so that means almost everything. We strongly are going for upgrading our portfolio. You can see here, 2003, this was our top 3 brands. Pemos, Deni and old-fashioned Pemolux. Actually also Deni and Pemos was looking quite odd and old. Yeah? And this strongly changed here. Yeah? So we are going for sure to high profitable brands and for sure also for modern brands. And the number 3, and this is quite important, as I said in the beginning, we have to deal here in 2 areas. Yeah? 2 different areas. We have to go for modernized trade, and then you have to be extremely fast because they are fast. And on the other hand, we have to build coverage. And that means people. We have to cover 50,000 stores with manpower. And this we have to do in parallel. And when I started in Russia 5 years ago, we had a coverage of 20,000 shops. We had 200 people. Today we are covering 50,000 shops, or 60,000 shops this year even, with by far more than 600 people. Yeah? So this is the change management and the adaptation when you are talking about modern setup of a sales organization. Yeah, and this is now some illustration of that, what I said as a strategic priority. You can see here our supply chain setup. We strongly changed also our supply chain in the beginning when in 2005 Tosno was our main platform. We were producing in Tosno roughly 60% of our merchandise, what we were selling in Russia. And today we restructured this plant and we moved our plant from Tosno to Perm, which is now our biggest plant here in Russia, producing roughly 60% of our merchandise. Can you imagine why we did this? What is the reason? Because Perm is so nice or cheap?
It's just a suitable place.
Why?
Comfortable transportation of the resources from Europe.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Some other ideas? Do you see the headline?
Close to the market.
It's easier to get to the consumer.
Close to the market. Yeah? Actually, when we started with our joint venture, Tosno was available, but unfortunately Tosno has one advantage, it's close to St. Petersburg, which is a wonderful destination, but unfortunately it is the edge of Russia, and unfortunately it's extremely expensive and it's about transportation capacities. Yeah? And indeed, logistics is one of the biggest challenge here in Russia, and today even more than 5 years ago, because today our logistic costs per ship tons is higher than our production costs. Yeah? So that means it costs us more money to bring our merchandise to the consumer than to produce it. Yeah? And therefore this restructuring, which we did in 2008, was so important to move 100,000 tons from Tosno to Perm. And that means to invest billions and billions of euros in Perm and to strongly change our whole organization. So this means close to the market and to have now a totally different setup of our supply chain in quantitative matters, but also for sure in qualitative matters in the year 2010. And the same upgrading of portfolio. You can see here now our top stars, I would say. We have 11 brands in detergent. What we did here, strongly reshift from old-fashioned brands to modernized brands and to strongly concentrate. We have now 5 brands which have sales above 1 billion ruble per year. And you can see also there's a growth rate, the annual growth rate which we had in the last 5 years. Not within 5 years, but year by year. So our Brazil is growing roughly by 40% year by year, lost by 30% and so on. And for us it is quite important, and for all FMCG companies important, to have a concentrated assortment. So that means number 1 Persil, number 2 Lost, and Vernel number 3 now are bringing more than 50% of our sales. And that means harvesting economies of scale. Only with this you can be also cost competitive, and with this you can be at the end of the day also price competitive. Yeah, and last but not least, set up of sales organization. As I said, we strongly shifted also our sales, and we were working in parallel, not only bringing up people to serve 50-60,000 shops in 2010, but also to strongly change and to shift here and to focus on key accounts. On key accounts. Key account 5 years ago were roughly 1/3 of our turnover. Today is roughly 60% of our turnover. And this for sure is the trend which will be coming up. But for sure, we are pretty sure the traditional trade, and this is traditional trade, will stay. Will stay. There will be not a dying traditional trade. Therefore, in Siberia and Far East, trade structure is totally different to that what we know from Europe. And therefore, there will be no dying traditional trade. You have to serve it also in 10 years in parallel. There will be also in 10 years key accounts as well as traditional trade clients. And this is then the outcome. This is then the result of our winning spirit, which I give you here as an example. As I said in the beginning, our ambition was and will be that we want to be the fast-growing company in detergent. And actually, when you are looking here on the last 5-6 years, we delivered what we promised to deliver. We indeed are strongly growing, adding now in this 5 years, 6 years, 8 percentage point market share. Unfortunately, our biggest competitor strongly is declining year by year, and all the others are fortunately quite flat. So this is indeed a nice trend. I'm pretty sure I will not deliver what I delivered in Czech Republic when we became indeed market leader, but we are at least in the right direction. So coming to now the second part of this winning culture, what does it mean to work within Henkel? What is our understanding, how we want to develop young talents, how we want to develop young students when they are coming from the university. So first of all, I would like to make you a little bit familiarized with our team. You already heard that we have 3,100 employees in Henkel, roughly 230 are managers. So there is a defined status within Henkel, a so-called management cycle, and it starts from a management circle 3, and then we have 6 layers coming up to a manager MC1, which by coincidence is me, but this is then the way of development within Henkel. So roughly, you can say roughly 12 people per manager. This is the ratio which we have here in Russia, and it is a good ratio, by the way, also Henkel worldwide. Henkel indeed has not too much expatriates on the payroll, so there are 14 expatriates. This is not too much when I compare with other German companies or international companies. They employ 50, 60, 70 employees. There's a clear belief that we should reduce even expatriates. So for sure I should be the last expat as a president of this company, and I'm pretty sure the next president of Henkel Russia will be the Russian manager. And this is one of my targets, to bring somebody of my colleagues, of my managers to this position, to be president of Henkel Russia in the future. This is always the gender is always a big surprise when I have some visitors from headquarters or from Western Europe. Our gender, 55% are males and 45% are females. And actually I'm very often giving interviews for new people which want to come to Henkel, and I would say roughly 80 to 90% are what? Males or females? Females. Males? These two guys said males. I do not know why, but indeed,
I just saw that.
Yeah, but that will change. Yeah, this will change indeed. Roughly 80% or more are indeed females. And we are doing every 3 months for the newcomers. There are so 20, 30 newcomers every quarter. I'm doing a welcome meeting with them. And actually, again, there 80% of these participants are females. So I strongly invite you also to apply.
Thank you very much.
And in Western Germany, they are discussing about quotas for females. We have to discuss about quotas for males maybe in the future. Yeah, tenure, so you see here 6.5 years is the average in service. Actually, this is an average because we have a lot of blue collars in our plants, which are already 20 years or longer in the plant. When you are talking about the administration, the average service for Henkel is roughly 3 years. So a quite young team, and we are talking about roughly 500 employees in Moscow head office. So how do they feel? Our people, our managers, we are regularly doing some management surveys, and in this case here, roughly 200 people gave us an answer here. In some of this here, they could rank between, yes, I agree strongly, I agree, I'm neutral, or I disagree, or I strongly disagree. And you can see here the overall satisfaction here of our employees. And fortunately, first of all, the majority of our people are very satisfied with Henkel. The majority are following me because I am proud to work for Henkel, and indeed a lot of my colleagues do the same. Unfortunately, it is even improving because it's the last survey 2006. So satisfaction and identification, and that is extremely important, that we do not have distant people. I would like to have people who are identifying with the company and not are only working and be a member of Henkel family between 8 and 6 o'clock. They should be really identified with the whole company and with this organization the whole time. This is important to be also with your heart, with the company, and not to say only, no, that is a nice employer. Now, these are not the people which we are searching. We are searching people who are loyal and can identify with the company and the culture of the company. So, and for sure you have to work on this. Identification and satisfaction is not given. You have to work on this, and this here is our program, what we understand, how to develop a winning culture and what we are doing for our employees, that we can have a high degree of identification and satisfaction and also of career opportunity. And there are three major